Hello. Full moon today. Well, Libra, Aries axis depend. Libra is September, October time, and Aries is April. So it's all about self and balance, really, getting everything between ourselves and other people. I find it difficult because I'm quite a selfish person. So I'm learning a very hard lesson of cooperation and diplomacy. So today we've got a full moon, and I've just had to spend £300 on having my car brakes done. Fortunately, I had a bit put by, which is, not a lot of money for me, really. But then, your car is your lifeline. It's for me. It's my lifeline. And when I think how much I use it, and how much I would be spending on taxes, so it is worth it. Very nice man. He's doing it on his own. He's got a mobile. So it was quite an eventful day. He came in here and did a bit of computing on this to pay the bill. So I think I've been thinking, I always think, what sort of video shall I do? But I think today it feels to me like it's survival. Because I had a very meagre breakfast this morning. I still haven't been shopping. I keep finding things to have. And suddenly the energy descended on me. And when you hear about saying grace before a meal, I don't think we do that nowadays. Sometimes I do, thank you for the lovely, but it's not a thing, it's a popular thing that we do in this country especially. But this energy descended on me and I just burst into tears. I thought, thank you God, I've got a breakfast, okay, it's not it's nothing special, but it's toast and something else, and I thought, I'll survive another day. I say that a lot, I will survive another day. And sometimes I say, do I really want to? So this is about, it's about survival, really. I have survived. I'm at extreme odds. I've never really had enough money, despite manifesting. This is something else I'm thinking. I'm manifesting, financial what's it, and all I'm doing is spending money on car, the garden. I keep handing people £10 notes, £20. I think, when's it my turn? When am I going to have some money, So I suppose I've got to have more faith and more trust. I don't know. It will come. It will, because I think in the winter I get the winter fuel allowance. That's about 300 quid. So it will come, but it's never more than I need, if you know what I mean. So this is about survival. And when I left my husband with nothing, it's not a sob story, it's a story to say how you can and will survive. Trust it. Because at the moment, a lot of us are going through leaving stuff, having people leave us, and I think we are, especially older people, are struggling, because especially women of my age, I haven't got a pension per se. I've got an old age pension, but I haven't got anything else because I didn't think about saving up, except my pension's taken out of my husband's pension. I don't think he'd like the idea of that. So it's about survival. And I left my house. I had a lovely suburban house in Frampton, in a village in Bristol. A lovely house, warm, centrally heated, everything I wanted. My husband paid the mortgage, That's another story, but anyway, he paid the mortgage, and the time just came. I knew I had to go. I just knew I had to go. My daughter decided not to come with me, and I'm not upset about that at all. She couldn't have done. I went to a very dour little flat with no heating in March. No heating, no hot water. I don't know why. I do know why I did it. A girlfriend found it for us. We were going to share this flat together, and the day came and all I took with me was my fig tree, and that's my sideboard. That's right, my sideboard. Had to leave everything else because, I took my daughter's. That's really, she was still with her dad in the house. He should have gone, really. But anyway, I was the one to go onto his cold, bleak flat. Students upstairs. No hot water, no shower, nothing like that. There was a lot of shower at the bottom of the kitchen. A few drops of cold water came out. It was covered in spiders and cobwebs, and the kitchen was awful. The conditions. I still don't know why I had to go through that, because it was raw basic survival. And of course the rent came out of I did have enough money from my husband to pay the rent, but it was basic living, and it's a completely different life for me. I was used to living in a very quiet suburb, and you know, well, easy life really, and bills being paid and so forth. Suddenly I was on my own with this whole energy of aloneness and bills and this that, and personal challenges. I mean, I had the students upstairs with their parties, and so, you know, it was a completely different world. Flatland, I call it Flatland. Lovely people, but that's not my world. And when we got to be friends, I used to cook them tea sometimes. The funniest thing that ever happened, I think it was one of the first nights I was there, and I had the bedroom just off the front by the front door in the hallway. It's one of these tiled hallways, made a hell of a racket, and the glass door was this Victorian glass. My bedroom was just off that. It was obviously used to be a front room. It was a Victorian house, you see, set into flats. So I was in this ground floor. I locked the door, but I was dreadfully cold, dreadfully cold. It was March the 1st. When I got there, I just surveyed to see. I thought, what the hell have I done? Everything was second hand. It mismatched. There was nothing new, of course. Settee was falling apart. The bed was. It was. I can't explain. I don't know. I still don't know why I had to go through that. Except I had a breakdown actually after a couple of weeks. Well, not ill hospital-wise, but I knew I wasn't right. I was just battling with unknown forces, and no one to help me. No one came to help me, not my daughter nor my parents. My dad came now and then. I think we got the fire started. There was an open fire. Well, no, actually, yes, it was an open fire, so I had to start getting logs. It was a completely different world. So I think it was in the first 2 or 3 nights, a knock came at my door, and one of the girls' students upstairs said, "Do you want to come to a party?" Oh yes, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm starting to dribble because my teeth are all coming out. Sorry about that. Old ladies do this sort of thing. Anyway, I said yes, I'll come. I got up there to the upstairs flat, and they were all sitting around in a circle, pitch black, smoke everywhere. Complete silence. I thought, what have I come to? Is it going to be a sex thing? Actually, no, it wasn't. And suddenly this cigarette came my way. They were passing around the cigarette, drugs, hash. I enjoyed it. Do you know, I slept like a log that night. I had the most wonderful sleep. I've been thinking about this recently. I don't know where I could. I know one of the hemp, isn't it hemp? I've got hemp seeds that I take, and they do make you feel peculiar. So that's a similar thing, isn't it? But this is my first experience of actually smoking the drug, and I don't smoke. But it was quite exciting all the same, and I did sleep well that night, I must admit. So my days in this flat were about I was there for 3.5 years with no coal. I did get loads and coal, and I could write a book about that. I have written it called Woman Alone. And somebody did ask me about the titles of my books. I'm trying to get them published, but they're all, you know, it's a very difficult area to get into when you're a first-time writer. But it's called Woman Alone, How I Survived this dreadful time, the cold. I mean, I used to, in the daytime, I used to pack my things up and go back to my house and let myself in and have a bath and do the washing. You know, I used to lay on my daughter's bed. Isn't that sad? I used to lay on her bed just for some comfort. I was so dreadfully lonely and afraid. I mean, it was a completely different world, really. And the things that happened, you could know, kids upstairs obviously went to drugs and stuff like that, you know. So it was all a bit of a drama. I was there for 3.5 years, and the rent wasn't that expensive, but it wasn't much there either. So I don't quite know where to go with this, really. I mean, I could tell stories about the flat, but I was there for 3.5 years, and I did have some fun because of young people. I get on well with young people. I had 1 or 2 young lovers, 18, 19. Oh, talk about toy boys. I thought if my daughter knew, she'd kill me. She would. She actually came to see me one day, and there was one in my bed. Oh, those were the days when it kept me going. I mean, I forgot how old I was in my 40s. But it goes to prove we're never too old, you know. And the guys loved me, you know. We got to cook tea or to take them out sometimes and so forth. So it was quite a good life in a way. But I think emotionally and mentally, I must tell you the story. There were 2 funny stories that happened, and this is true. Very true. You know, I never tell a lie. I can't lie. One story was, I think one of the first 2 or 3 nights I had no heat. I had to buy myself a colour gas heater just to keep warm, pile the covers on the bed. And I remember waking up in the night, my arm was hanging outside the covers and someone was draining every ounce of blood out of me. Now, I'm not sure I understand why, but I think the blood contains all the negative energies, the thoughts. It's a living being, of course. And I think I'd started again. I'd left my husband, took a lot of courage after 20 odd years or so to go and live in this dreadful place. And so I changed the patterns, I think, and it was somebody was taking on. But of course, after that, I became very ill. I had glandular fever and I became very, very ill because I had no blood, psychologically. And there was also a time a little African girl turned up at my door, and she was very strange. And of course, I was so naive. I still am naive, but even more so. I'm going to check the time. Even more so then, and she came to me, so I understand that you're a healer. She said, could you help me? I said, yes, come on in, And we started talking, and she said to me she'd been to see a witch doctor, and he'd put a spell on her. Now, it's not an area I would want to go into. It's not one of my interests at all. But I listened to her, and I just did a bit of weaving about. And I definitely felt odd. I felt my whole aura shook. I thought, well, something's either gone through me or gone into me that left her. She felt wonderful. And I do think I've had that for a very long time, that it was draining my energy. It made itself at home, obviously very powerful. And I've had an awful job to get rid of it. I think I have now. I was taking a long time, a lot of, prayers, because I didn't really know what it was, but I think it was this negative energy that she'd had put into her, left and jumped onto me, because I was exhausted at the time, you see. I wasn't well, and I've never been one to really do a lot of self-protection. It's a thing I've really got to work on, and it cost me dearly at times. I don't do enough of it. I just trust I'll be all right. Well, of course, these days you're not just all right. You have to keep yourself, protected up. In fact, the other night I was woken up. A thought came to me, you've got negative energy in your bedroom, and I could see it. So when you're not clear of it, and even in your own home, I think I'm rabbiting on now. I'm going to have to stop. Oh, I love talking. Anyway, I've had a good day. I've found £300 from somewhere. I've got my brakes done, my car's back up together again, my lifeline. I've got a diagnosed cyst, yes, under my left knee, and it's very, very painful. So I think my walking days are not going to be there for a time. I'm fed up with both my legs are having troubles. Anyway, that's another story. So I've got to watch what I'm doing. Got a weekend coming up, and I think, oh, not another weekend, So there we are, darlings. It's nice to talk to you. I don't know who you all are, but I know you listen. I know you care. You say some very nice things, and I do consider you my friends. Libra, you see, in my birth chart, I haven't got much in. Oh, my North Node. The North Node in your birth chart is where you're heading in this lifetime. South one's where you're leaving, and my South one's in Aries, which has been very selfish-oriented. I've had to work very hard on liking and being with other people. I still don't very much, but I've had to work very hard on considering others and this sort of bit. I won't go into it, but look it up if you like astrology. Look up Libra. That's where we're at the moment. So this is a kind of a sharing video. I hope you enjoy it one way or another. So keep the comments running. I can't believe nobody has something to say. Sometimes, very rarely, you do. So I'm going to sign off now then, my darlings. And enjoy the full moon. And just check on your balance in every area of your life, particularly relationships.